What is going on, folks? It's Matt here from Polar Designs, and we're here with another great video. Today we are going to be talking about Bitmojis. Yes, the Bitmojis that everyone knows and loves and uses in Snapchat and in text and in other applications. I wanted to take it a step further, and I wanted to create a real-life Bitmoji of myself. What do you think? Not too bad. Could probably add a few pounds on here, but other than that, I think it looks pretty good.
Well, I need to be honest with you. You're ugly.
So in this video, I am going to show you the process on how to create this and how you can create your own. So the very first thing I did in order to get started with this project is I had to download the Bitmoji extension from my Google Chrome browser. So I went to Google, typed in Bitmoji extension, went directly to the Bitmoji site. You can either go to this Bitmoji site if you don't already have a Bitmoji. I would create an application on your phone and create a Bitmoji. But if you already have one, then all you need to do is add your Google Chrome. And when you do, you will get a extension. This extension here allows you to cycle through your different Bitmojis, and you can even do specific searches. Like, I know a great one to search is pose, and you will get many different poses. So, you know, you can select a finger guns, you can select a guy that's jumping. You have a lot of different options. So basically your first step is to find one that you like. So I went through and I found one that I liked, and then I hit save image as. So let's say, let me go back in here. Let's say that I want to do this hand waving one, and it's one that I've done for other people. If I hit save image as, save it wherever, I'll save it into my pictures. I'll save it as Matmoji, and it will be saved automatically as a background list PNG image, which is super helpful. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and hit save. Now the next step is opening up your favorite modeling software. For me, I use Autodesk Inventor. So now that I am back in Autodesk Inventor, I am gonna go ahead and start a brand new project. I'll start a new part, a standard IPT. I'll go ahead and click create. In the top left-hand corner, I'll go ahead and select the plane in which I want to begin my sketch upon. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with the XZ, the bottom up plane, and I'll start my first sketch. Now, in order to place this image in here, it's a fairly simple process. All you need to do is select image in the sketch menu, go to wherever it was saved. In this case, I believe it's saved to pictures. Find my Matmoji, you can see he's waving there, what's going on, and we'll go ahead and select open. I always like to place my pictures or my images based on this origin point here, and I think that just makes life a little bit easier. So I'm gonna go ahead and click right on that origin point. And here we go. We have little Mr. Waving Matt, and I can go ahead and immediately throw a dimension. Actually, I'll throw a line. And that line will tell me that my Bitmoji right now is roughly 3.4 inches. Now, I would like it to be a little bit larger. In fact, I'd like it to take up the majority of the print space on my printer. So all I need to do is adjust the length of this line to 8 inches, and it should subsequently adjust the size of my image. And you can see, once I clicked enter, my 8-inch line now adjusted the size of my image to match 8 inches. And that'll work for me. I'm not looking for anything too specific, just around 8 inches. I can go ahead and delete that line now. And if I want to, I can go ahead and finish my sketch and do a save. Once our document is nice and saved, I can go ahead and go back in to sketch number 1. I'll reorient this so I'm getting a better viewpoint of it. And now it is all up to you. So, for me, I took quite a long time using tools like the arc tool in order to first get a general outline of stuff like the hair, just like this. And you can use whatever method you choose to use. I just find that this arc tool is super helpful for creating nice lines. Now, I ultimately go ahead and do an offset on all of these to fill that black line. And that black line is where I am going to flood most of my paint whenever I go to ultimately paint this. So, once again, you're going to go through and you are going to add as much detail as you would like. It is ultimately up to you how much detail you want to add. The more the detail you add, the more detailed your final result is going to be. So keep that in mind. Go ahead and do some of that. So let's go ahead and let's fast forward to our finished result. With a little bit of TV magic, you can see that this is what I am left with. I have a very detailed print that includes all of my main features, from eyebrows to ears to eyes, pupils, the tie, the shoes. And you can see all of these are outlined so that the main portion of it is sunk in and the outline is raised along the edges. And this is going to help us when we go to eventually flood this out. You can do this exact same process with any Bitmoji that you choose. In fact, I also did one for my wife. And you can see I've included that same amount of detail from the eyes to the hair, even to showing some details like the rips in the jeans or the womanly features. Once again, details on the shoes, and this once more can be printed out in order to be flood filled. Once you have your Bitmoji totally created, and I believe that the thickness that I put on these, let me check the thickness on mine. So about 0.25 is the thickness that I chose to go for. And you can see that this leaves us with something that's nice and thick and just thick enough to kind of keep from deformation whenever it's totally printed. So, now that you have your Bitmoji all modeled out, make sure that you go ahead and save it. And we're gonna go ahead and bring this into Cura. You can see currently I'm running the Ender 3, the Creality Ender 3 Pro. Once he's in here, and look at him, he's currently doing some break dancing here. Once I have him in here, we can go ahead and lay him, go ahead and lay him flat. Go ahead and do a little bit of adjustment. Now, when I print these, I like to print at a fine resolution. Therefore, I choose to print with a 0.12 resolution. Now, this is going to increase your time drastically, but it will help for very clean lines when you are finished. As far as infill, 20% is going to work fine for me, and I also have some different settings, but I can adjust the wall count back to what's recommended, and I can go ahead and slice my model. So you can see my print time on it's about 3 hours and 22 minutes. If I close this out and we do a print preview, we can go ahead and take a look at the quality of my print. So you can even see that some of these smaller details have an issue being picked up, like the fingers and such. I'm not too concerned about that for my process. You can see the main ones, like my mouth and my eyes and the nose and eyebrows and all that stuff are very well shown, even the tie and all of the outlines. So that's all I'm concerned about. I'll just go through the layers and make sure everything looks good. I don't see any issues there. So we can go ahead and load this up on a flash drive and bring it over to the Ender 3 Pro. For the flooding process of this build, I chose to use some acrylic paint, and I just very lightly watered down that acrylic paint And using some eyedroppers, I was able to pick up the paint from within the bottle and able to very carefully fill in these different sections from the face to the eyes to the suit, even to the shoes. Now I will say some stuff like the like around the pupils there and in small spaces, like, you know, that top part of the tie there can be very difficult. So just take your time on it and make a fun activity. And you will need a few different colors of acrylic paint. I was lucky enough to have a friend that had some and I could borrow them. Now this will last up super hard to a lot of wear and tear, so I don't suggest that, you know, you let this sit outside after it's done, but it's going to hold up just fine if you have it displayed somewhere. Lastly, the very last thing that I did was I went over everything over the edges with a black Sharpie, and you can see that that really brought the whole thing together and really added a nice look with all those nice dark lines surrounding the colorful areas. So I will say this was a really fun project and a really nice, good one to do for family and loved ones. And once you're done, you can post it on a wall, you can put it on a desk. It has many different opportunities. Take a look at this, you know, definitely mess around with it and create one of your own. And I would love to see everyone share their own creations. So make yours, share it. Polar Designs 3D. As always, folks, stay creative.